Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you're watching us from. My name is Bilha from the Internationals of Netherlands, and today I'm bringing a topic that is very sentimental to me and to my co hosts. And we are talking about rising from the ashes. And you may be wondering what ashes. We are going to tell you what ashes. But let my co-host introduce herself so that you get to know her.
Thank you so much. My name is Alice, the Conscious Life Coach, and I help women who are feeling overwhelmed and stuck find clarity and regain balance in their lives. And I'm happy to be here.
Wow.
Thank you for the invite.
Wow. Let me tell you something. Alice and I met just like maybe 2 3 weeks. No, sorry. We met like 1 month ago
Yeah.
and we hit it off.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, we have the same vibe, if you like, and we agreed to do this together. Why? Destiny. This is destiny. We believe it's destiny because we agree so much. So what are the ashes we are talking about? My ashes start with 3 Ds: divorce, death, dystocia. You can Google what some of those things are. And today we are only going to talk about divorce because of time, but we can bring those other topics later. And we are going to say what we learned from the divorce, what are the lessons learned, and how we rose from those ashes. So I want Alice to tell us what brought you here. Why are we here?
For me, it's amazing how similar we are because for me, it's the same thing that happened. No, the divorce was at that point. I thought it was my death. At
Yeah.
that point, I thought it was the end of life as I knew it. But what I didn't know back then is, in fact, as I'm talking right now, I've thought of a quote, a Bible verse, I think, and it says, "He makes everything beautiful out of ashes," or something of the sort. And I never realized how meaningful that verse is or was to me at that point until I found out, okay, fine, here I am, totally broken, totally helpless, angry, frustrated, bitter, and burnt as in literally burnt to ashes. Kuchomeka as in kabisa, there's nothing left, just the ashes. And it's amazing how it is possible to rise from the ashes. And that's why I'm so excited to be having this conversation with you today.
Wow, it's possible to rise from your ashes. And by today, you may not be having a divorce. It could be loss of a job. It could be anything. Let me not even put a name, but we are here to tell you you can rise. And we are here to show you or to tell you how we rose from our ashes. And so I'm going to ask Alice to tell you what are some of the red flags, if they were there. If they were not there, tell us also. What are some of the red flags that you ignored?
Okay, just before I get onto that, I like what you mentioned because I thought it's really important to emphasize. It doesn't have to be a divorce.
Yeah.
It could be a job loss.
Yeah.
It could be a relationship breakup.
Yeah.
It could be a bankruptcy.
It could be health.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that you're at that point where you're feeling like life has gotten you to the end of the rope, just know it's possible to rise from the ashes.
Yeah.
And when I look back, when we're talking about red flags, I saw them. I decided to color them differently. Why? Because I was scared. If I actually owned it then, I'd have a problem right here on my face that I would have to deal with.
Yeah.
And I was that type of a person where I didn't want confrontation. I didn't want drama. I was such a peacemaker to the extent of, please just walk all over me, but let's just have peace in the house. So the red flags were there, but I decided, see red, they're orange, or they're amber, anything but red, because red it means it's a warning sign and we have to deal with it.
Yeah.
And some of those red flags were, I could tell, it had the conflict at home had become so much.
Yeah.
So we used to argue, I think, over almost everything. Even the small things that were inconsequential, we'd argue about. Everything was a source of argument. Why? Because when I look back, we both of us We both had so much resentment, so much anger stored in us, so much bitterness. And so any point of communication, that was the only thing that would come out.
Yeah.
And another red flag that I saw was at some point we had drifted. We had drifted apart.
Yeah.
We were more of strangers than friends.
Yeah.
In fact, we used to live in the same, we're just strangers sharing a roof. I think at that point, people knew more about my life, and his friends knew more about his life than the two of us knew about what each other was, what the other person was doing.
Yeah.
So were the red flags there? Yes, they were. What did we do about it? Absolutely nothing. It's like seeing a train coming at head speed, and you know it's going to crash, but you feel so helpless because the momentum is so high. You don't know how to step on the brakes.
But tell me, before were there good moments? Did it all start with, because in my case, I can tell you there's a moment I know very well I was happy. And I thought, this is going to be life. I did it. And I was a church girl. And there is something we're going to say about the church and this, because both of us were church girls. So was there a good time?
Yes, definitely. I keep on saying I was not married to the devil.
Nice.
He was a good man. He had his weaknesses. He had his I love saying we have the light and the shadows in us. So he had both ends. So I can't sit here and say, but he was just a nasty man who did 1, 2, 3, and there was no goodness in him. I'd be lying if I said that.
Okay, so we agree. And do you know, she talks and I'm like, God, this girl is talking about me. Because I had a good time, I can tell you I enjoyed, but it came a time where I could see, no, this one, no, and resentment. And the moment you have quarrels almost every other day, and then resentment sets in and you're not solving your issues, and we're talking right now on divorce case, that's also even another red flag in itself. Yeah. So because family, if you're living with somebody, you have to communicate. For me, communication was the main. Our communication was so bad. And I'm more talkative. I'm a sanguine right now. You should be knowing that. And I'm very talkative. He's quiet. And so for me, I want to solve things now. Unlike her, I don't mind confrontation to date. But I don't think I have the skills to handle it in the right way. And so for her, I can never be a doormat. I'm not a doormat. Why? And not that I don't want peace, but I think the way I'm wired is that you deal with an issue. But it came a point where I found that it's not helping. And human beings are very funny. When you try something and you find it's not working, you give up. And especially women, you take a back seat. And that is when I knew, wow, this is going badly. So what are some of those things, especially, let's change a little and talk about when you lose a job. Because that's another ash.
Yeah. And that's something that happens so often. When someone loses a job, especially if they used to use it as a source of identity, it's the titles that we have. And as I've mentioned that, I've remembered, was it Professor Bitangen Demo who mentioned that when he was in office, his phone used to ring like all the time, like all off the hook. Then when he got out of office, at some point he had to check his phone because he was wondering, is this thing still working? Because no one was calling him. It could be that. It could be your sense of recognition has been affected. Your sense of identity, it's such that a job loss is not just a loss of income. Of course, there's the first one, and that's the major one. That's the one that you actually see, like it has an immediate impact. If it was your source of bread, it was your source of income, and now you're stressed out because you don't know now what next. Then apart from that, Then apart from that, there's the bit of it's your source of recognition. I mean,
Yeah.
if it was you're walking on the road, kila mtu ako like mkubwa, mkubwa, and now no one is
Status.
bothered. Exactly. Status, titles, recognition,
Yeah.
the material things that come with that. So it can really, if you're not at the right place, a job loss can really take you tumbling down,
Yeah.
and you can easily find yourself depressed because of that.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's good to bring that up, because the other thing about a loss or ashes is that even if they're ashes, we are wired, human beings are wired such that we don't like to lose. So even if something is not working for you and you can clearly see it's not working for you, you don't want to lose it.
Yeah.
Which is very funny, because you'd think if something is not working, then let go. No.
Yeah.
We are wired, if it's a job, even if it's affecting you,
Yeah.
if it's a relationship, if it's a marriage, you don't want to lose it. And for me, that is what affected me. By the way, I stayed in that marriage for 23 years.
Oh wow.
23 good years.
Wow.
Of course, I have beautiful children to show for it, and I'm very happy about it. But then, if I was courageous and if I didn't want to lose them, I should have left a long time ago. Why? Because he wasn't also happy, and I could see that. And I didn't know what to do about it.
Yeah.
And I feel that, and I would like you to talk about that. Do we have structures? When someone loses a job, when someone loses a loved one, when someone gets divorced, those ashes, do we have structures that can help people to rise from the ashes?
That's a good question, and I just want to echo what you're saying, because I went through the same thing. As human beings, we fear loss. Loss of any kind. It doesn't matter that loss is an opportunity to open, it's opening up for something bigger or something better. We take loss as a sense of failure.
Yeah.
Like for me it was, I don't want to go through a divorce because I do not want to be a failure. Because this means I failed in my marriage. I mean, imagine that. I failed. And this is something I always wonder. If you're married and you got divorced and you learned your lessons, he learned his lessons, you both grew and you're better people. I always wonder, is that a success or a loss? Which one is more of a success? Staying in a marriage for 30 years, you've lost yourself, you have no communication, you guys are just sharing the same roof, but since I'm Jachana, you have that title of Mr. and Mrs. But you're so miserable.
Yeah.
And it's not that like I'm advocating for divorce here, but I kind of like really look at things differently. Can we measure success in a marriage differently?
Yeah.
Instead of measuring by duration, I am married for 33 years. Can we measure it according to the quality of life that? Yeah.
And you've brought up something very nice. And I think that is where I was able to rise. I asked myself, am I happy? No. Am I making my children happy? No.
Yeah.
Am I making him happy? No. It was a no. Then I asked myself, then why should I be? And then someone told me, a very, very together person told me, God is not happy when you're unhappy. So don't think staying in a marriage that is not working, or even in a job, let me shock you people, even in a job that is not working, or in a relationship that is not, that God is happy, you are actually making yourself miserable.
True.
And sometimes, and I want to change this a little bit, because one of the things I've learned and has made me rise from the ash is that you also tell people how to treat you. So someone asked me, why are you attracting people that are using you, misusing you? Why? What is it in your energy that is making you or that is making other people treat you? Because you don't give standards, or you don't show them how you want to be treated. So what I feel is that first of all, we have societal expectations. Whether someone tells you or not, or you yourself, you've given you society what you're talking about.
Can I just add to that? And it's in line with the question that you had asked about structure. Unfortunately, as a people, we don't have structure. We don't have structure to support us. In fact, it's the other way around. Like you're mentioning, Society says stick together.
Yeah.
Society says it's good for man and woman to be together no matter what is going on.
Yeah.
You fight uko behind the scenes, you live miserably, but when you come out, hold hands and look like you're happy.
I remember, you just made me remember that I told my friends, I didn't want to be known, I didn't want people, because remember, I was a church girl. I married in church. I married all the nice things that people want. So I didn't want people to know that I'm failing, that I'm losing, like I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I kept it to myself. My siblings didn't know. Only 2 or 3 friends who knew, and we were really praying. We used to pray. Oh my goodness. Sometimes I laugh at myself. Why? Because it's not that prayer doesn't work, but you know what? When it concerns somebody else, the other person has to want it to work.
Yeah.
So what am I bringing up is that it takes you to know how you're going to be treated, how you want to be treated, and you have to tell people.
I love that, because as you're talking about yourself, I was like, when you got my script, and because I used to do that. And I remember we used to go for Bible study every Thursday, and I loved that cell group. And every single Thursday, guess who was on top of the prayer? Yeah. Guess who? To the extent, to the extent I remember there was an elderly lady in that group who just used to give me joy. And when it was her time, like, to take notes for prayer items when you're praying, she'd always ask me, okay, apart from your husband, what else are we praying for? And as you're mentioning that, it hit me. In fact, after I went through my divorce, I was so bitter. Because, like, God, I prayed, I fasted, I went for Bible study, I tithed.
You did all that is in the book.
Everything. I prayed for this man left. I bought books. Power of a praying wife, power of a praying woman. 30 days, I don't know of what. I read all of them. I put them into practice. But like you're saying, I was never looking at, so how am I? How am I showing up in this relationship?
Yeah.
How am I allowing, what am I doing, or not doing that is making this train head this way?
Yeah.
And as I looked back, I was like, you know what? I take responsibility.
Yeah.
Even for the way this person treated me, and I allowed him to treat me like that, which is what you're mentioning, which is what I actually take my ladies through the coaching. It's never about the other person. When we're having a discussion, I always say, wachana naye kwanza.
Let's deal with it.
Yeah, you cannot be able to change the other person. The question is, what energy are you giving out? What vibe, what frequency are you on? Because the other person can only match.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, most of the time, we look at it in terms of, we don't look, okay, so how am I contributing to this? So that, because if you look at yourself that way, then you'd be able to turn things around.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that was my major breakthrough and turning point in rising from the ashes.
Yeah.
Because I'd gotten to a point where I was so bitter.
Yeah.
I was so angry. I was angry at everyone. A butterfly would pass me, like, imenipita kwa nini? You pass me in front of, whether you were in traffic or in a supermarket, and I'd get annoyed. I was annoyed at everything. Everything. In fact, if you're breathing right here next to me, I'd be like, why are you breathing so loudly?
Right, yeah.
So there was so much bitterness. And for me, the turning point was when I decided to look inwards. When I decided, okay, fine, I am here. I don't like it. I'm feeling horrible, but I can take charge.
Yeah.
I take 100% responsibility. Whatever happened.
Yeah.
And I cannot change it.
You can't.
But I can actually change my destiny.
Yeah.
I'm not destined to, and when I look back, there was a lot of mindset transformation.
Yeah.
And it goes back. There's something that has come to my head. And I think it's Romans 12:2 or something. And it says you have to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And there's some things I look at like, this is so powerful. We don't understand what this means.
Yeah.
Because for me, it was a whole mind shift. You know, it
So
was a
before
whole.
we come to that, I'm wondering, does it mean then when you see a red flag, you run, you cross the street and you run and where is counseling? Where does counseling come in? Where does also checking yourself come in? When is it time to cross the street? When is it time to go for counseling and to seek help? And when do you know, is it life? Let me tell you something, because let me add that something I believe. Some people are in your life for a time.
Yeah.
And I know we say divorce is until death. How you
Marriage.
describe marriage, sorry. How you describe your death matters a lot. Because there are people who are going to wait until they're hurt and they're.
Yeah.
So describe your death and make sure it's in line with your belief system.
Yeah.
Because I know people think it's a physical death.
Yeah.
For me, I know, and it's so clear for me, our death, that was our time, and that was it. So some people, maybe they're not supposed to be in your life forever.
Yeah.
So it's not that they're bad people. I like what TD Jakes says. If people have to go, let them go.
Yeah, I
Maybe
love
they're
that.
not bad people.
I love that.
Just their point in life.
Yeah.
Now, back to my question to you. At what point should we know that it's
That's a
time
good
to
question.
cross the street?
That's a good question. And when you're looking at red flags, it doesn't mean that you spot one and you jump out. It just means before you even get into that relationship, first you need to understand yourself. And I'm a very big proponent of self-awareness.
Yep.
Because once you understand, you know what your wants are, you know what your deal breakers are in a relationship, what value you want to get, and not just what value you want to get. What value also are you also going to give? You know, what are the things that you know for sure are a no-no, and those are your red flags. When you understand yourself from that point, then it's easier now to come and say, these are the red flags. Nimeona hii, and for me it's an issue. Okay, is this an issue that we can sit and discuss? No, it is not.
And is the person willing to discuss?
Yes. If it is, and the person is willing, let me give an example. For me, if you have any tendency of physical violence, hakuna kitu tuna discuss.
It's a deal breaker.
It's a deal breaker for me. And it doesn't matter, it might not even be me you're hitting. But if, let me give an example. After my divorce and when I started dating a whole while afterwards, there's this gentleman I met and things were going very well, and then I remember there's a time we had a date and I had parked on the wrong parking slot. I didn't know. So the guard came and he was very
feisty.
He was sort of feisty, but what I noted is he was angry, I think, because alikuwa amekeleleshwa. So I was trying to talk to him and understand, okay, so no one told me this was the wrong parking spot, so how would I have known? Because it was just an empty slot, there were no signs. So this person who I was seeking to date at that point comes in, listens to the guy, holds his shirt, and they start fighting. And I remember I got into the car and I drove off, and that was it. He never saw me again. And he could not understand. For me, that was my red flag. For me, if you get to a point where you cannot even talk to this person and understand why they are causing, how you sort out your issues ni kushikana mashati. I just told him, okay, fine, it was him, then I'll be next. I'm not waiting.
But I want to put a but, and not a nice, not a but that whatever you're saying is not true. That is true. If someone is violent, I think there's no negotiation. But what makes women stay even when they're fought? What is it? Because that also informs how you rise.
That's a very good point. And the reason why most of us stay when in that position is because our sense of worth
what we talked about.
Ourselves, it's never about the other person. It's about me as an individual.
Wow.
So for someone who is who's at that point, their sense of worth, their self-esteem, their image, the kind of talk they have. Because if your sense of self-esteem is healthy, it's positive, then for sure you would not take it. And now that's the reason why you can observe and you can see, but this person is being mistreated. So you just wake up and leave. It's never that easy, because it's not just physical living. There has to be a whole mindset change.
What about, sorry for cutting you, but what about those women who stay and they say, I'm staying because of the children? And they have a point. By the way, they have a point. Why? Is because when you look back, you might look and see, I cannot maintain maybe the status that we're in. I cannot be able to pay school fees. So what would you tell such women?
That's a very sensitive place to be at. And I totally understand. You're here, you don't want to be here, but living might not be the best option. So for me, I'll say, if it involves physical violence, then please, badala utoke in a casket, please just find a way, find a safe house or support from friends if you have. Because we say we're going to stay because of the kids, but because what happens is, when a man hits you the first time, he'll say sorry. Probably hits you the second time and the third time says sorry, then it becomes ni kawaida too. Then it goes on escalating. The first one will be a slap, then the next one will be a hot slap, then the third one will be a hotter slap, then the fourth one a slaps. So it keeps on escalating. So instead of, if you're in a place where there's physical violence, instead of waiting to leave that house in a casket, just you'd rather even find a way of struggling with the kids on your own, but you're there, they can see you, rather than ungoje kifo.
Let me say something, because there was a form of violence in my case, and I kept telling myself, maybe if I go for therapy, maybe if I go for counseling, which I did, but I used to go alone, red flag. I thought there's this magic, and that's the way the church, because like I said, I'm a church girl, that's the way the church told me. And I look back right now, and we are undoing the damage that did to my children. Thank God for prayers, thank God for friends, thank God for people who supported us. So what would you tell that woman who is thinking, I'm staying because of the children? And what age is very sensitive, or is it the entire age of the children? I'm still back to
Let me start with the age for the kids. The most important age for a child in terms of development is their formative years, and that's between 0 to 7 years. And between 0 to 7 years, an adult is formed. Their behaviors, their values, their attitudes, their belief system, everything is formed. And why is this? This is because between 0 and 7 years, a child's brain, how do I put this in a very simple way? They're using their subconscious mind. So their mind is like a sponge. It's just soaking in information.
Absorbing.
It's just absorbing information. Then as at 7 years, the conscious mind, now the mind that we're using when we're awake, when we are, the subconscious mind is the one that we use on autopilot. Like for example, when you're walking, you don't think, achane can we are right, achane can we are left. You just walk. When you're driving, you don't start, okay, so should I, you just steer. So that's the mind that is usually active between 0 and 7. Then after 7, the conscious mind, the one that now when we are awake, we are talking, that's the one that takes over. But now here is the most
moment.
The most amazing moment is, as an adult, 95% of our behaviors are run by our subconscious mind. We think we're in charge, but we're not. It's the experiences that we had as kids. It's the things that we were taught as children. We're just repeating, I keep on saying, we're just regurgitating, what we saw. So if as a child saw the parents fighting, they'll grow up thinking, that's normal. If a child sees the mom being beaten, chances are they are gonna end up in a similar relationship.
Yeah.
Why? Because according to them, semi-normal. That's what they saw in their home.
So you need to call it out.
Exactly.
And do something.
Exactly.
Because you're trying also, you should be very careful with the children. I have watched now my granddaughter, the one I was talking about, and I'm telling you, she's such a sponge. Oh my goodness. I think I'm very conscious because I brought up my own children. So if you dance, she will dance. If you're not, and she's very, very sensitive to words. So, and I'm like, you can destroy, even the fact that you can destroy such a minor person. So women should be, or not just women, in fact, let's rephrase this. If you're in a violent relationship and there are children involved, just know it's not about you. The other, I think that I missed. And I missed that, and there were too many voices out there, and what people would say, the child, where I work, people who are looking up to me, up to today. And sometimes I think I should say this, people are human. So the only person you should look out for and know is perfect is God. I want to bring something else, and I'll say how I rose from the ashes. I still remember it was a Saturday morning, and I was reading. I was supposed to read. Then I discovered, I woke up and started thinking how bad this person has treated me. I even thought for an hour, and I was feeling miserable and feeling so bad. How can someone I love, how can someone we lived together for this long do this to me? Then I got the aha moment. You know what happened? I asked myself, why am I allowing this person to control me? He hurt me, and now he is occupying my mind. I decided no. And we give power by what we think about.
Exactly.
So for me, that was my turning point. Not letting somebody control my thought life. And why that is important is because of what I said earlier. What are you allowing? And my worldview changed. I started looking at the way you're saying, I started looking at Bilha. What did I contribute? How can I move from here? What should I do for me to rise? And we are going to give you more of how you can rise. Tell me, what was your aha moment? If there was.
For me, it was slightly different. And it was, for the longest, I was very bitter. And that's because I kept on thinking, because I was with this person for close to 11 years. And I kept on thinking, and in my head at that point, we got together at 25 and split up when I was 35. So in my head at that point, I knew I gave him the best years of my life. I gave him my peak years. So I was so bitter, you know, like I gave him my best years, and yet I have nothing to show for it. And okay, my life is over because my best years are over. And I remember one day I was sitting down thinking about that, and a voice just came to my head, and I really thank God, because you know, even there are times you're thinking your life is over, but there's always a kind of voice that tells you, and then to take one step at a time. I think for me, that voice that day was my guardian angel undercover. I like joking like that. And that voice just asked, it was a very simple question. Who told you that your best years are over? And for me, it was such an aha moment, because it made me rethink. Because like, hey, wait a minute. Who said those were my best years? Who told me?
Again, the mindset. I hear you talking about the mindset.
Exactly. I didn't know, but at that point, that was the breakthrough. Because it made me realize, you know what? My best years are ahead of me. And I started saying this affirmation. Of course, at that point, I didn't believe it that much. But I kept on saying it. My best years are ahead. You know, in each and every day, my life is getting better and better. And the older I grow, the more exciting life becomes.
Wow.
And I would say it got to a point, it became like a song. You know, the way we used to sing, row, row, row your boat, and then you'd almost sing it in your sleep because you know it so well. For me, I kept on affirming and reaffirming, you know, my best years are ahead. My best years are ahead. And that made me shift. It was a whole mindset shift. Yeah. Because I started realizing, okay, if my best years are ahead of me, then what do they require of me? Definitely, yeah, a pity party won't help.
Yes, no.
So, what do those best years look like? They look like A, B, C, D.
Yeah.
So, what is required of me? How do I step up to this?
Yeah.
And what I didn't realize then is it was a whole self-awareness journey of even how did I even get here?
Yeah, and you said something very important. It's a journey.
Yeah.
Because most of us want, it's like
Instant.
a button, instant.
Yes.
And we are in an age where instant is the key.
Yeah.
For this case, remember, it has taken you, for me, it has taken me 23 years. I wasn't going to undo it within a day. That is something that took long. So one of the things that I have come to discover is what you said, your mindset, a mind shift. You have to have a mind shift, whether it's your job that you've lost, whether it's death, and we have all been affected by death in one way or the other. There's need to be a mind shift. And for me also, I think I decided to look for resources. And I'm very good at, I really like to research. What does divorce, what did I contribute? I even started reading about marriage books.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I was asking myself, where did I miss this? Because for me, everybody kept telling me, Bila, you was supposed to work. I don't even like people telling me that, because I felt like you're putting me into a pedestal, so I cannot fail. I'm human. You can fail. Even if you're a church girl, even if your wedding was done. And this is what I want us to demystify. For the next 5 minutes, I'm giving you 5 minutes. Please tell us the church perspective. What do you think? And divorce.
I'm even sitting nice.
And marriage. First of all, marriage and divorce. Join those two together.
From the church perspective, I might not be the best person to discuss that, because I have very divergent views from maybe what the church would say.
Yeah.
And what the perspective of the church, I think it's a good perspective in terms of it seeks, the objective is, to have unity, to have a mother and a father and children, if they're there together. And it comes from a good space.
Yes.
Let me put it that way.
It's true.
But on the other hand, the same thing is what puts people like in jail.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that makes people suffer silently.
And stay
Because
exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because they are afraid.
Yeah.
They're afraid, number one, of disappointing people. They're afraid of what people will say. Then when you go to the Bible, the things that are spoken about regarding divorce, you wouldn't want to associate yourself with it.
Yeah, God hates divorce.
Exactly. And it almost scares you into submission. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
But I as much as I'm saying that, I love that there's some churches that are coming out and saying, we understand there are marriages that are not ordained by God. Because even the marriages that find watu wameenda, and this is how I put it, watu wameenda church wakakwa tie,
Joined.
but wakakwa joined, but I keep on saying the marriages made in heaven, the people are meant to be together. Those are the ones that we should be emphasizing on. Then there are marriages that mlipatana huko mkapatana huko, there was nowhere God was involved, and you went and got joined, and it was not a marriage, joined in heaven. And it's gotten to that point where, like you were mentioning earlier, people come in and meet for a season, or for a reason. If that season is over, and I am not advocating for divorce, if that season is over, it's for you to open your eyes and realize.
And it's not the end. I want to say and emphasize, it's not the end. If it was the end, then we wouldn't be here.
Exactly.
Yeah. I also want us to, maybe in the next, we have only 5 minutes. For those 5 minutes, can we tell our listeners, what are the lessons learned? What are the lessons that you learned from this so that they can rise?
I love that. The first one would be mindset is everything.
Yeah, mindset.
Yes, mindset.
I hope you people are taking notes now.
Mindset is everything because out of the heart,
the mouth speaks.
Exactly. So whatever you have is what will come out. So if you have a lot of negative self-talk, if you have a lot of negative self-limiting beliefs, you'll just be in a jail by yourself. Then the other one is take 100% responsibility.
Big one.
Exactly. At some point, it may not even be your fault that you've ended up being burnt to ashes. It might not be your fault you got divorced. It might not be your fault you lost that job. Sometimes you could have been, you're there, you're doing your best, and probably your partner maybe just decides they want something else.
Yeah.
It might not be your fault, that you're wounded, but healing from that is 100% your responsibility.
Yeah.
If we keep on if we could have kept on saying, but then it was his fault, me, I was a good person, sijui nini, serikali saidia, everything but not me, then chances are we'd have still been the same spot. Why? Because the moment you play victim, you rob yourself of your personal power to change. Because you're waiting for someone
to come and rescue you.
Exactly. So that means it must be on their time. They have, it has to hit them that you need to be rescued. You're powerless. Yes, it's not true. You're not
and
a
some
victim.
of the things that happen in our lives, sorry for interjecting, it's what life is made up of. I keep saying divorce is there. The fact that the name is there, then it means there can be divorce.
Yeah, exactly.
However, you can rise and you don't have to be a victim. And one other thing that people need to realize is that it takes you. It takes you.
So I love that.
Please continue with your lesson learned.
I think those were my main.
Your main. Okay, maybe let me share mine. They are almost like yours. One of them is not to play victim, and that's why I woke up and told myself, I am not going to allow this person I loved him, but that's over. I accepted the fact that I'm divorced. Then I made sure that I am going to empower myself. I went back to school, and that really helped my self-esteem. Whatever helps you, you should go for it. The other thing is that it's owning up and asking myself, what is it in my personality that makes people treat me this way? So learn how to self-awareness. How do you want people to treat you? Go for that. The other one is there's the other side of the spectrum. I think people think it's only divorce. I am a firm believer on what if. Because most of the times we say, what if this happens to me? What if I go to town and get hit by a car? What if you go to town and you meet this governor and gives you whatever you want? So change your what if and change your world mindset, your mindset. The last one, which is my biggest, empower yourself. I think one of the things I have done, I listen to, let me put it this way, spiritually, I listen to Sarah Jakes from Potter's House, and who else? And Pastor Wanderi. I am not a member of that church, but I listen to him online. I also listen a lot too. This is for my own growth, or for my own knowledge. I listen to Dr. Leaf, Karen Leaf. She is a neurosurgeon.
Yeah, she's awesome.
And she's awesome. You people, if you need to rise, you want to rise, please go look for Dr. Karen Leaf. And if you want, we'll put in our video, we'll put all these people I'm talking about. Then also, you need to have fun. It doesn't have to be I need to be motivated, I need to read books. That is good. I am a member of Audible, I am a member of Scribe, I am a member of Kido. I am a member of, I'm looking for information. When I go to the internet, I look to empower myself. And the other thing also, if you are empowering is business, go for that business. Because why most women stay in bad marriages, or most people, because even men can be in abusive marriages, It's because you're not empowered. So you're looking out and you're wondering, how am I going to live?
Yeah.
Empower yourself. It's a business. Go with it full throttle. You better feel trying.
Yeah.
Yeah? So I think we have come to the end of this. I don't know whether you have something else to say.
I think you've nailed it so well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe the last thing I can add is don't give up. You know, it's possible to rise.
Yeah. We have reason. And I'm telling you, it's 5 years for me. No, 7. Oh, it's 7 years since 2014. Gosh, counting is hard.
Yeah.
2014.
About,
It's about that. So if we have reason, why not you? And it's okay, even if you're a church girl, to be divorced. I'm saying that. I'm not advocating for divorce. Please don't misquote me. I know. It's okay, and you can rise. My daughter is with me and she's laughing. So I'm not just saying things. She has been here by the way throughout. So there are no things I'm saying that she doesn't know. So bye-bye.
Bye.
We can rise. Yes. Bye-bye.
You can move, it's okay.
Bono not to freeze.
I need bloopers.
Let me tell you, at one point, God, I was shocked. I relived my marriage. Imagine. And I felt heaviness. I was like,